Hi guys, welcome to Euroleague Fantasy Talks. In this episode, we will go through my team's performance on round 2. We will make changes for round 3, and also I will recommend some few other players to consider for round 3. On round 2, my team got 151.5 points, which half of it came from captaining Mirotic. Our capital gain was negative, zero point 0.6 credits, and mostly because of performances by Elio Kobo and Carson Edwards, but we will go through them in just a little bit. For now, let's check how we're doing overall. After round 1, we were in top 20%. Now we are in top 10%. Let's hope we can go even higher. Let's go quickly through my team's performance in round 2. Timon had a superb performance of 22 PAR. Now he's priced at 9.2, so I definitely recommend getting him if you still don't have him. Well, Mirotic, he got his points from round 1 because round 2 game between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Milan was postponed. We took Mirotic and made him captain, which brought us the twice amount of points. Round, since it was postponed, it didn't affect the price of the player in any way, so the price maintained the same, 16.3, same as it was after round 1. Arnas Butkevičius did what we expected for him to do. He scored points, he got rebounds, he was all over the place, and he got 16.5 fantasy points and increased his price. It might be hard for him against Real Madrid, but for this price, we definitely will keep him. Chima Moneka did very well for us. He got 18.7 fantasy points and continued raising his price. Definitely consider getting him if you still don't have him. Elio Kobo was one of our 2 disappointments last round. He missed all of his 8 shots, and without that, with no points scored, obviously it's hard to get PAR. So he only went minus and ended up with minus 5 PAR, which hurt us a lot in our budget because he went down 0.7 credits in price. John Di Bartolomeo had the same case as Mirotic, where he just got us 11 fantasy points and no change in price between round 2 and round 3 since the game was postponed. We believed in Carson Edwards, but this has to stop because he went even more down and reduced our budget even more. So we will have to say bye to Edwards, at least for now. Alexa Avramovic scored 4.4 fantasy points for us. That was because he missed a lot of shots, but I'm pretty sure that next game week will be much better for him. Uroš Trifunovic got us 2.2 fantasy points and reduced his price by 0.1 credit, which is not great, but it's not as bad as Okobo or Carson Edwards. Ante Žižić didn't have a great night against Real Madrid's frontcourt, but still managed to get 9 PAR, which only reduced his price by 0.1 credit. I'm pretty sure he will have a much better night against Asvel's frontcourt, hence we will keep him and we will continue believing in him. For our head coach, we went with Joan Penaroya from Baskonia, and they barely won against Alba, but at the end of the day, it was a victory. He got us 10 fantasy points and increased his price just a little bit. Let's make changes for round 3. Let's start with the head coach. Penaroya and Baskonia is too risky to bet against Bayern, hence we will go with another coach. We will go with Luca Banchia in Virtus, who will be playing against Alba Berlin at home. So I believe that Virtus can win the game and increase our budget. And why I see that? Because how I see head coaches is that we change them every game week, and you want to buy a head coach that will rise his price, and you want to sell him the next round for another coach so that you get instant profits. Another good option would be Erdem Can from Anadolu Efes, as they will also play at home and they will play against Asvel. And for my player changes, I will start by trading Mirotic. And I will pick Rokas Giedraitis from Crvena Zvezda for 11.5 credits. Giedraitis' round 2 game against Žalgiris was probably the worst game of the season for him, as it is probably psychologically difficult for him to play in Kaunas. Nevertheless, you can now get him for a great price, as he is one of the main guy for Duško Ivanović, and even with the worst game in Kaunas, the coach trusted him so much that he kept him on the court for the whole 32 minutes. So we definitely are going with Giedraitis and are keeping him for many rounds to come. Second player that we are trading is Elio Kobo. Not convincing enough performance in the first 2 rounds, double week coming up, and possibly Kemba Walker making his Euroleague debut, which will take minutes from Elio Kobo, so I prefer to trade Elio Kobo for someone with more potential. And I will go with Rokas Jokubaitis from Barcelona for 8.5 credits. We see that new coach Roger Grimau starts trusting Rokas Jokubaitis more by giving him more playing time. And Rokas, even with the harsh conditions against Partizan and Stark Arena, should maintain his cool and generate PIR through scoring and assists. I don't know how about you, but I have lost hope in Edwards, so we say bye to him. And he seems to be much more dependent on scoring, as he didn't boost his PIR by anything else like assists, steals or rebounds in the first 2 EuroLeague games. But we will not go far, and we will pick Leandro Bolmaro from Bayern Munich as well for 10.6 credits, because Bolmaro seems to become the main point guard for Pablo Lasso's team. And with Baskonia being an offensive-oriented team, it will allow Bayern Munich to score, and that should translate to PIR for Bolmaro, him being one of the main guys in Bayern. And I will recommend few other players to consider, and first of them being Yamadar from Fenerbahce. With Tyler Dorsey getting an injury, Yamadar played 14 and 23 minutes in the round 1 and 2 respectively, and now Yamadar should get even more minutes, and in more minutes we expect even more PIR. So Yamadar is definitely worth considering, having in mind the low price point. Another player is Ife Lundberg from Virtus Bologna for 8.9 credits. Lundberg is a player with a high talent level, and most probably why he didn't do so well last season is because Coach Scariolo didn't want him in the team. But now with the new coach, he already produced 14 PIR in 22 minutes in his first game against Monaco, and with the victory bonus it was 15.4 fantasy points. So definitely worth considering. And for forward position, I would recommend to consider Tadas Edekerskis from Baskonia for 8.6 credits. It is only after 2 rounds, but he's already leading the league in rebounds with an average of 11.5 rebound per game. He had 17 and 23.1 fantasy points performances, and for that price, he's definitely worth considering. I would like to pick him already this week, but since the trade limit is limited to 3 trades, I will have to go for him next week. So this is our team for round 2. And I will captain Chima Moneke, as I believe he has the biggest potential to bring us the most amount of points for round 2. Since we can make changes between Tuesday and Wednesday, since there is a double week of Euroleague this week, I will consider, if I want, I will go for either Gedraitis or Timon if Moneke doesn't perform so well. And just to mention that since it's a double week in Euroleague, the performances of players will be different since we will play much more games. We had domestic games this weekend, and then we play either Tuesday, Wednesday, and then another Euroleague game on Thursday or Friday, and then after that National Leagues games. So the load management is heavy this week, and therefore don't expect for all the players playing the same amount of minutes, and therefore not getting the same amount of points. So it's really difficult fantasy-wise to know which players will perform, but we still try to choose the best players, and it will be difficult. And guys, don't forget to make changes between Wednesday and Thursday. That's all, guys. Thanks for watching. For more content on EuroLeague Fantasy, please consider pressing the like button and subscribing. See you in the next one.